The storm outside lashed against the old Victorian mansion like a relentless beast. Olivia Harper stood in the dimly lit foyer, the only light coming from the flickering lantern she carried. The shadows danced across the peeling wallpaper, whispering secrets of a forgotten past. The wind howled through the broken window panes, and the air was thick with dust and memories. As Olivia took a deep breath, the oppressive silence was shattered by a sudden, eerie thud from somewhere deep within the house. Her heart raced, but she forced herself to take another step forward, determined to face whatever secrets lay hidden in her late aunt's decrepit home. Olivia Harper's move to Ravenwood had been both a fresh start and a daunting challenge. At 28, she was leaving behind the bright lights of the city for the solitude of a small town. The Victorian house she inherited from her late aunt was a relic from another era, with its towering spires, intricate woodwork, and an atmosphere thick with nostalgia and decay. The townsfolk had greeted her with wary curiosity, their glances laden with unspoken warnings. A week into her new life, Olivia was still unpacking boxes when the first magazine arrived. It was an old-fashioned publication, its cover adorned with a faded illustration of an occult symbol that sent a shiver down her spine. The title, The Inherited Collection, was embossed in gold leaf, and the subtitle read, Unveiling the Secrets of the Past. Inside, Olivia found articles on obscure rituals, long-forgotten family histories, and chilling accounts of mysterious disappearances. Each page seemed to recount a piece of her family's history, details she had never known but felt an eerie familiarity with. The magazine ended with a cryptic message. The past is never truly buried. It waits for the right moment to rise again. As the weeks went by, more issues of The Inherited Collection arrived, each more disturbing than the last. Olivia began to notice that the content of these magazines eerily mirrored events happening in her life. A detailed article on a ritualistic murder described an incident that bore a striking resemblance to a recent break-in at the house. Another issue chronicled a tragic fire that mirrored a near-disastrous electrical fault she had encountered. Driven by growing paranoia, Olivia began researching the magazine's origins. She discovered that the previous owner of the house, Gideon Blackwood, was a notorious figure in Ravenwood's history, an occultist whose experiments had left a trail of tragedy and fear. According to local legends, Blackwood had vanished mysteriously, leaving behind a legacy of terror that seemed to have taken root in the mansion. Olivia's investigation led her to the town library, where she unearthed old newspaper clippings about Blackwood's occult practices and the ominous disappearance of his followers. Her search revealed that Gideon had been obsessed with binding his spirit to the house, ensuring his malevolent influence endured beyond death. The magazines she received were part of a twisted ritual to complete this binding by preying on the new occupants of the house. One evening, while exploring the attic, Olivia stumbled upon a hidden room. Inside, she found stacks of old dusty magazines and journals, all bearing the same title, The Inherited Collection. The walls were covered in arcane symbols and disturbing illustrations, hinting at Blackwood's dark rituals. As Olivia leafed through the journals, she realized that each magazine had been meticulously crafted to manipulate and terrorize its readers, preparing them for the final phase of Blackwood's curse. The magazine's predictions grew increasingly personal and sinister. Olivia began experiencing nightmarish visions, ghostly apparitions, disembodied whispers, and objects moving on their own. The once familiar house became a maze of fear, with every creak and shadow suggesting something more malevolent lurking within. The townspeople's whispers turned to outright warnings as they learned of Olivia's struggles. Desperate for help, Olivia reached out to a local historian, Eleanor Granger, who had studied Blackwood's legacy extensively. Eleanor revealed that the only way to break the curse was to confront Blackwood's spirit and destroy the source of his power, the hidden room where the magazines were created. With Eleanor's guidance, Olivia prepared for a final confrontation with the malevolent entity. As Olivia and Eleanor ventured into the hidden room, the atmosphere grew suffocating with malevolence. The air crackled with dark energy as Gideon Blackwood's spirit manifested, a spectral figure cloaked in shadows and rage. Olivia faced him with a mix of fear and determination, wielding a ritualistic dagger she had found in the journals. A battle of wills ensued, with Olivia using the knowledge she had gleaned from the magazines to counter Blackwood's dark magic. The room shook with supernatural force as Olivia performed a counter-ritual, burning the cursed magazines and destroying the symbols on the walls. The final confrontation was a whirlwind of terror and resolve, as Olivia fought to sever the ties binding Blackwood's spirit to the house. With the curse finally broken, the oppressive atmosphere of the mansion lifted. The house, once a prison of fear, now felt strangely serene. Olivia's life slowly returned to normal, though the experience had left her changed. The magazines ceased arriving, and the haunting visions became a distant memory. Ravenwood's townsfolk breathed a sigh of relief, their town free from the shadow of Gideon Blackwood. As Olivia settled into her new life, she found solace in the knowledge that she had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. The house, once a symbol of fear, became a place of healing and new beginnings. Yet, the echoes of the past lingered, a reminder of the enduring power of history and the strength required to confront it. Years later, as Olivia looked back on her ordeal, she could still feel the weight of the past pressing against her. The story of the cursed magazines became a local legend, a tale of horror and bravery that was passed down through generations. Olivia's experience remained a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the unyielding quest for truth, even in the face of unimaginable terror. James Walker adjusted the last of his photographs on the desk, his apartment now feeling like home despite the mountain of unpacked boxes. As a graphic designer, the sleek modernity of his workspace contrasted sharply with the ominous atmosphere of his new high-rise apartment. The city lights of Brightwell sparkled outside his window, a deceptive facade of normalcy. It was during one of his late-night design sessions when the first magazine arrived. It was an unmarked package with no return address, only a glossy cover featuring the title, The Dark Editions, in stark, chilling font. Inside, James found disturbing images of crime scenes, missing persons, and unsolved murders. The photos were disturbingly vivid, each page more grotesque than the last. As he flipped through the pages, James felt a cold shiver run down his spine. The magazine detailed events with an unsettling precision, as if predicting tragedies before they happened. Weeks passed, and more issues of The Dark Editions arrived. The content grew eerily specific, with details that began to reflect events in James's own life. A feature on a gruesome assault seemed to mirror a recent encounter he had had with a troubling individual. A profile of a missing person bore a haunting resemblance to his co-worker, who had recently disappeared without a trace. James's initial curiosity turned to dread as he noticed a pattern. The magazine's predictions seemed to come true. His anxiety escalated when he recognized a face in the latest issue, his childhood friend, Emily, who had been missing for days. The magazine showed her in a chillingly accurate depiction of her current situation, indicating that something terrible was about to happen to her. Desperate to stop the impending disaster, James began investigating the source of the magazines. He contacted the publisher listed on the back cover, but received no satisfactory answers. The trail led him to a former journalist named Dr. Elias Thorne, known for his work in the occult and his sudden disappearance years ago. James tracked down Thorne's last known location, a derelict mansion on the outskirts of town. The mansion was as unsettling as the magazines, filled with occult symbols and dusty old files. In the hidden study, James found evidence of Thorne's obsession with harnessing dark forces and manipulating media to control people's fates. The realization that Thorne was using the magazines to orchestrate real-life horrors filled James with a sense of urgency. As James delved deeper, the horrors depicted in the magazines became increasingly personal. His friends and family members appeared as victims in the pages, each issue predicting and influencing their fates. The psychological strain began to take its toll, and James felt his grip on reality slipping as he confronted the malevolent force behind the magazines. He finally managed to contact Thorne, who revealed his plan: to use the magazines to create a cycle of fear and suffering, feeding off the negative energy generated by his victims. Thorne's calm demeanor and cryptic statements only heightened James's sense of dread. The confrontation with Thorne was a twisted game of cat and mouse, with the antagonist reveling in his control over James's fate. Determined to end the curse, James prepared for a final confrontation with Thorne. Armed with the knowledge he had gathered and a resolve to save his loved ones, he returned to the mansion. The atmosphere was thick with malevolent energy, and the mansion seemed to pulse with dark anticipation. In a dramatic and intense showdown, James faced Thorne in a climactic battle of wills. The room was filled with supernatural forces and haunting visions, as James used the information he had uncovered to counter Thorne's dark magic. The battle reached its peak as James destroyed the source of Thorne's power, an ancient artifact hidden in the mansion. The magazines burst into flames, and the dark energy surrounding the mansion dissipated. With Thorne defeated and the curse broken, the oppressive atmosphere of the mansion lifted. The magazines ceased arriving, and James's life slowly returned to normal. The city of Brightwell seemed brighter, though the experience had left James forever changed. James's victory came at a personal cost, but he found solace in knowing he had stopped the malevolent force that had threatened his loved ones. The story of The Dark Editions became a cautionary tale of the power of media and the dangers of tampering with dark forces. James continued his work as a graphic designer, now with a deeper appreciation for the impact of his craft. Years later, James would occasionally think back to the dark days of the magazines, a chilling reminder of the power of fear and manipulation. Though the shadows had receded, the lessons learned from facing the darkness remained with him. His story became a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the importance of confronting and overcoming the fears that seek to control us. Samantha Hayes stretched out on her couch, the soft hum of her laptop providing a comforting backdrop as she reviewed her latest article on unsolved mysteries. The late afternoon sun cast warm light through her apartment's large windows, but her tranquil moment was interrupted by the arrival of an unmarked package. Inside, she found a glossy magazine titled Echoes of the Obscure, its cover adorned with an old, haunting photograph of a decaying village. The magazine's content was unsettling, a collection of forgotten cases and eerie accounts of unsolved crimes and abandoned places. Each page was filled with chilling details and macabre images, leaving Samantha both fascinated and disturbed. As she read through the articles, she noticed a recurring theme of a mysterious village that was not listed on any map. The village seemed to exist only in the magazine's pages, and a strange sense of familiarity began to creep over her. Over the next few weeks, Samantha received more issues of Echoes of the Obscure, each one more disturbing than the last. The stories began to revolve around the same village, a place that seemed to evade the grasp of modern maps and history. Samantha's fascination turned to dread when she started dreaming of the village, each dream more vivid and horrifying than the last. The village appeared as a twisted, decaying version of a forgotten past, filled with ghostly figures and echoes of sorrow. Determined to uncover the truth, Samantha began researching the village. She scoured historical records, local archives, and even consulted with historians, but found no trace of the village outside the pages of the magazine. Her obsession with the village grew, and the line between reality and the dream world started to blur. Samantha's investigation led her to an elderly historian named Margaret Lawson, who had once studied local legends and ghost stories. Margaret revealed that the village was rumored to be cursed, erased from history due to unspeakable horrors. The village's inhabitants had vanished under mysterious circumstances, and the place was said to be a nexus of dark, supernatural forces. Margaret's research hinted at a malevolent entity that had been linked to the village's disappearance, the Forgotten Warden. This entity was believed to have the power to trap souls within cursed objects, feeding off their fear and suffering. As Samantha connected the dots, she realized that the Forgotten Warden was using echoes of the obscure to lure new victims and extend its influence beyond the village. As Samantha delved deeper, the supernatural occurrences in her life intensified. Strange noises, flickering lights, and unsettling visions began to plague her. Her friends and family noticed her growing distress, but Samantha struggled to explain the source of her fear. The magazine's content seemed to be influencing her reality, and her dreams became increasingly nightmarish, showing the village in ever more horrifying detail. Samantha's investigation led her to the outskirts of Riverton, where she found an abandoned estate that matched the descriptions from the magazine. The estate was eerily similar to the village she had seen in her dreams, with overgrown vegetation and a decaying structure that seemed to pulse with dark energy. Desperate to break free from the curse, Samantha sought out the source of the Forgotten Warden's power. Her search led her back to Margaret Lawson, who revealed that the only way to sever the connection was to confront the entity directly and destroy the cursed object that bound it to the magazine. In a dramatic confrontation, Samantha faced the Forgotten Warden within the decaying estate. The entity appeared as a shadowy figure, with eyes that glowed with an otherworldly light. The battle was both physical and psychological, as Samantha confronted her deepest fears and the entity's dark influence. Using the knowledge she had gained, Samantha located and destroyed the cursed artifact, an ancient tome hidden within the estate. With the artifact destroyed, the oppressive atmosphere surrounding Samantha began to lift. The magazine ceased arriving, and the supernatural disturbances in her life gradually subsided. Samantha's connection to the village was severed, but the experience left her deeply changed. The village's haunting presence had left a lasting mark on her psyche, and she struggled to regain a sense of normalcy. Samantha continued her work as a true crime writer, but her experiences with echoes of the obscure made her more cautious about the stories she pursued. The tale of the cursed magazine became a dark chapter in her life, a reminder of the thin boundary between history and the supernatural. Years later, Samantha reflected on her harrowing journey and the echoes of the village that still lingered in her memories. Though she had managed to escape the curse, the impact of her experience remained with her. The story of Echoes of the Obscure became a chilling reminder of the dangers of unearthing forbidden knowledge and the inescapable nature of dark pasts. And that concludes tonight's harrowing descent into darkness, brave souls. If the chilling tales of cursed magazines and eerie predictions left you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with fellow thrill seekers. Your support keeps the shadows alive and the stories coming. Subscribe for more heart-pounding horror and turn on notifications so you never miss a spine-tingling episode. And remember, the next time you receive an unexpected delivery, you might want to take a closer look before opening it. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and most importantly, stay scared. Fear Files signing off for now.